We are back. It is another edition of Colts Corner with myself, Kevin Bowen. Eddie Garrison is back with us as well. The Monday to Wednesday cadence continues here as we reach the midway point of the NFL season, and the talk of the league, it should be, if it's not already, the 6-1 Indianapolis Colts. Eddie, I talked last week on the pod a little bit about, well, first off, welcome back.
It's nice to be back. I can't remember the last time I did a Monday pod with you.
I know, it has been a while. You've been doing some training here.
Week 1, week 2, probably, after one of those wins?
Yes, yeah. Gosh, it's been that long. Well, great to have you back. And you come at a great time because the Colts are playing some excellent football. But I said this on last week's pod, Eddie. The Colts treated Sunday like it meant something more than just an average game. And I'm good with that. I'm fine with NFL teams embracing that moment, not afraid to acknowledge those sorts of things. But you got to meet it. And I think too often, late in seasons, the Colts haven't met the moment recently. And I don't want to make too much out of a mid-October victory, but the Colts circled it. And now how do you react to that? And they reacted pretty emphatically, certainly from the start. And you know, if you need any sort of reaction, and I think the Colts said it publicly, but certainly behind the scenes, they circled this one. Like, just watch Quentin Nelson's reaction to the final gun yesterday. I mean, Quentin Nelson's bouncing around after a 14-point win in October. Like, he's bouncing around like that was a, Michael Badgley game-winning field goal in December to, clinch the division or something. And, meeting the moment, circling games, making sure that you play when the environment and the stakes are a little bit higher. Those are all things that you want to have happen for you in December and January, and DeForest Buckner even throughout the month of February. Post game yesterday, I'm fine with that. You can talk it, and then if that leads to better play, by all means. So, really surgical offensively. I mean, there's nothing that you can really say about the offense right now. It's flawless. It's unbelievable balance. It's a slew of different guys. It's Shane Steichen and Daniel Jones, two football nerds, just eating it up Monday through Saturday, then delivering on Sunday. And defensively, timely turnovers. I mean, Nick Cross and Grover Stewart, huge plays. Like, when they happened in the moment, I don't know if we understood how big they were, but then as the game played out, you realized how good the Chargers can be offensively. It just... You have questions defensively, but those two plays from Cross and Grover were huge. So 6-1, and now a massive 2-touchdown-plus favorite over the Tennessee Titans here coming up in Week 8. The rare 4:25 Colts-Titans game.
It's kind of wild to think about this, Kev, but like when you think about all the teams in this state that have had success in the last year, all of them have been, discounted. How all of them have been critiqued, overlooked, not taken seriously. Like, you look at Indiana last year, they weren't taken seriously. They make it to the college football playoff. You look at the Indiana Pacers, they weren't taken as serious as they should have been going into the postseason run. They make it to the NBA Finals. The Indiana Fever were not taken seriously going into the WNBA playoffs. They're a game and a quarter of 5 minutes away from making the WNBA Finals to the team that ends up sweeping the Phoenix Mercury. And now you've got the Indianapolis Colts, and it felt like going into that game, it was another one of those, are the Colts for real? Like, are we going, is this team real, or is it just one of those teams that's taking advantage of their schedule, and they're just 5-1 by happenstance? They went out and they dominated, once again, their opponent yesterday.
I get why people would have had questions. I mean, okay, Geno Raiders, Jacoby Cardinals, Tua Dolphins, et cetera, Cam Ward Titans. Like, I understand maybe some pause. I think ridiculing the Colts or, ripping them for their schedule, I think that's unfair, to be clear. But I understand if you were in the camp of like, okay, the schedule's about to toughen up. Let's see what happens. And yesterday, they answered that. And I thought J.J. Watt's kind of ending to the game was a great line there of, people continue to doubt the Colts, and they continue to do this. Something along those lines. I'm obviously paraphrasing with what he said there. But, when you think about it, this was, okay, Harbaugh, Herbert, on the road. Ironically, back to the one venue where you lost earlier this year. Shane Steichen, 9 years with the Chargers. Not that there's bad blood there, but just, everyone is a competitor. You're naturally going to have that one circled. And now here we are 7 weeks into the season, and 4 of their wins are by at least 14 points.
Yeah.
That is, I was looking up last night. I think you got to go back over the last 3 years. I think they had just 5 such wins, and they've got 4 of them already in 7 weeks. So big picture, obviously, it means a lot for the AFC. It's another conference win. You're now 2 games above Jacksonville. Sneaky plays for me. I thought the Amir Abdullah kick return was a huge play. Without Doolin,
I did not have him as an impactful player these last couple of weeks for the Colts.
No, but without Doolin, you needed another kick returner.
Yeah.
And so that's why he was back there with Anthony Gould. And yeah, he's risen, to kind of second on that depth chart. I'm sure we'll get to Travaris Ward at some point, but when they put him on IR, they brought up Abdullah to the 53-man roster after some practice squad elevations there. And kind of those fourth downs, Eddie, I also thought were big. Like the 4th and inches, the replay assist. The Colts are likely not challenging that. You probably aren't going to win that challenge, frankly.
You're talking about the Jonathan Taylor run?
Right. Early in the game.
Mm-hmm.
You don't challenge spots like that. I thought that was a big play there. That, just kind of ignited things and you built that double-digit lead. And then obviously you get the Stewart and you get the cross interceptions and the rest is history. So, plus you got anything else to add? I would say let's get into it.
One final thing to add, Kev, and I know there's a lot of conversations like, oh, who's the best team in football? Like, because that's always, Monday reaction for a bunch of, different markets, different teams or whatever. The Colts may not be the most talented team. They are very talented, but right now, they're probably the only team that's playing as well as they can in terms of complementary football. The offense picking up the defense picking up the offense, special teams picking up everything. Like, that's the one comment that I think I'll have before we dive into what you did.
And I'll just chime in real quick, and maybe it's more of a Wednesday conversation, but there are rungs of the ladder that you routinely get judged upon, certainly in the NFL. And I can hear the next rung is this. Are the Colts the best team in the NFL, or are they the best offense?
Right.
Which, okay, I can get that. And, the beauty of it is you're going to have, 9 more tests in the regular season and then whatever the playoffs hold, and you get the chance to continue to answer to those questions. Like the Indiana football analogy was a great one last year, Eddie. Kurt Cignetti's bunch defied so much. And then when it got real tough, that's when the ladder finally gave out on them. Okay, Ohio State is here, Notre Dame's here, and we're still here.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the beauty of sports, is you can get to if you are answering questions, you can keep on having them thrown at you. And the Pacers, they answered them time and time again, all the way to the brink of the final game of the season. So that's the beauty of it, is you're going to continue to get all of this. And the Colts have earned it. The Colts have earned this opportunity. And again, December, January, February, meaningful football moments. I mean, let's be honest. After Sunday, Eddie, you can look at all these games the rest of the season and be like, wow, that's a pretty good team they're going to play. Or that's a decent team. Or it's a divisional game. Yeah, I guess Sunday counts as a divisional game, but still, after this, pretty much everybody you play, I would guess, maybe Houston's not, is probably within a game of the playoffs, if not in the playoffs right now.
Let's get into what you did like, starting with the guy who's been making all the right decisions offensively. Shane Steichen and his approach is the first thing that you liked about Sunday's win, Kevin.
Yeah, he is the Colts offense is a wagon. It's a wagon, and Steichen, it's beautiful what they're doing. The offensive balance. Here's JT going. Here's the checkdowns. Here's a home run ball to Pierce. Here's Tyler Warren seemingly every game wide the you-know-what open. It's amazing at every level of the defense, Eddie, how wide-ass open the Colts are. Every level. Dumps, checkdowns, bootlegs, intermediate stuff. Obviously, the deep ball to Pierce, stands out. And that whole red zone stat that they had going there, it is kind of funny there that they all of a sudden run into their own red zone halting by their own doing it. And by that I mean this: they had scored 12 straight red zone touchdowns, and by kicking the field goal in the first half, they unfortunately got into the red zone, so that stat stopped there at 12. I think the franchise record was 15, which, with how they've gone, they easily probably would have gotten that. So, I kind of forgot watching the game yesterday that Josh Downs didn't play. And yet they still score 38. And if they wanted to, it could have been 45 or maybe even 52. So I think you just got to mention Steichen. If you want to talk big picture, again, meeting the moment. I think he told his team, hey, this game is a little bit more. And not just for him. I'd say for the 2025 Colts as well. They met that. Penalties. A little bit of an issue early in the season. Haven't talked about them as much lately. Red zone play. A little bit of an issue early in the season. Now it's been otherworldly here late. So that's what you want to see. You want to see growth. You want to see areas that are weaknesses show up. So I just think so much of this is Steichen. Offensively, I've always been very, very high on him. But some of the other stuff as a head coach, more of that on your plate and handling that stuff, I think that has been there as well.
I just think the job that he did, especially early on those fourth down plays and just knowing when to go for it and realizing, like, these guys can't stop us right now, and I'm just going to ride the hot hand, and I'm going to keep pounding it with Jonathan Taylor, this offensive line, and then the play design on the Michael Pittman Jr. touchdown was absolutely phenomenal.
Well, and the thing, too, that he does such a great job of before we transition to Daniel Jones, Eddie, is he always is applying stress or pressure to the opponent. And in little ways, he did it yesterday by stealing the timeout against Harbaugh. He never lets you rest. And like some people I've talked to, they're like, they get frustrated when Steichen sends the offense out there and just waits till the play clock either, runs out or, he takes his time out with one on the play clock or the quarter ends or something like that. And they're just trying to sneak an offsides penalty at you. But that's what he's trying. Let's stress you to the nth degree and try to make you strain. And maybe you'll crack at some point. That's not as obvious later in the game. And imagine if the Chargers score there on that 21-play drive. Imagine if that would have been a touchdown. Now all of a sudden they still only have 2 timeouts the rest of the way. And that easily could have been a huge impactful moment at some point as well. So, that's the thing that he just does such a great job of.
Number 2, Kevin, in terms of what you like, the offense in general, let's start with the man who has 3 games this year with 3 touchdowns, and Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, it's just, I guess I probably didn't do a good enough job there in hitting on Daniel Jones. But, from an offensive standpoint, to me, the debate right now is such a great one of who's your MVP? Is it Daniel Jones or is it Jonathan Taylor? And you could ask that league-wide. I mean, both of them would be, I think you could make cases for both of them being on an MVP case league-wide. And obviously internally, you would say that as well. Let's start with Jones. He finds answers so decisively and so efficiently. Every play has an answer. You always hear that from quarterbacks. But how quickly do you recognize that answer and then do you deliver in that moment? And Jones, to me, has found that. Not everything's going to be 3rd and 17, home run to Alec Pierce. Some of it might be, hey, 3rd and 10 in the red zone. You going to check it down to Amir Abdullah? Oh, wow. Did that just turn into 4th and 2? Now you're going for it. Now Shane Steichen's in his bag. Now Michael Pittman Jr. is wide open in the end zone. Those plays. Again, Pittman's touchdown does not happen without Jones sitting there on 3rd and 10 and saying, instead of 4th and 1, what if I check it down? And what if we get into a 4th and now go zone? And obviously, they did. The decisions, they never seem panicked to me. Again, decisive. I think he's throwing the ball on target, in stride. Hell, it's easy to catch. He's had a clean sheet in, 5 of 7 games. I saw a stat where he's already reached his career high in passer rating games of more than 100 in a season. He's had 6 of them already, and that's staying away from negatives, and that is keeping everything methodical. They stay ahead of the chains, and he does such a great job of just, again, finding easy answers. And some of those answers are checkdowns. Some of it is just a 3-yard ball in the air, but it leads to something, bigger than that, or it leads to maybe a more manageable situation to then go ahead and go for it after that. So Jones, great, and then obviously Taylor. I mean, the touchdowns obviously stand out to you from a fantasy football standpoint. Eddie, I thought that was one of the best opening quarter games they've had running it in a while.
Oh, yeah.
Taylor and Abdullah was sprinkled in there a little bit there, but they end the game over 6 yards per carry. Now, to be fair, on paper, I think this was expected to be a huge advantage for you. The Chargers were a really poor run defense team, but still, just the offensive balance you have right now with these two is eye-popping. And with these two, I mean, Jones and then Taylor as well, and throwing the O-line. You had questions about the group entering the year. You're incorporating 2 new starters. Health has been on your side, but still, just a really, really sound job from that unit. I don't feel like Jones is getting hit very much at all, and when he's getting hit, he's still hanging in there and delivering some big plays for you.
For the first time in a while, Kevin, you've got the quarterback of the Indianapolis Colts and the quarterback of the New England Patriots doing something that the rest of the NFL hasn't done. You know what that is?
No, I don't know specifically.
Daniel Jones and Drake May are the only quarterbacks in the NFL to have over 200 passing yards in all 7 games this season.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I would not have guessed that with Drake May.
Yeah, both of them are currently the only quarterbacks to do that. And Drake May has been absolutely balling for New England as of late, but we'll save that for a different time. Let's move on to the defensive side of the football, KB, and what you liked. The 2 guys with interceptions, Big Grove, Grover Stewart, and Nick Cross.
Huge plays, absolutely huge plays. And let's start with Grover. What a awesome play. Just a man that deserved it. Like, he got his big old paw up there for the lot 2 pick a few weeks ago. His play has grown, and honestly, the Colts probably don't have a lot of great options right now, but still, his play has grown to where, like, oh yeah, let's put Grover on the field on a 3rd down. And he's out there in a pass rush moment. And I just thought it was hilarious. Like, literally, I thought the band was out on the field when it all emptied out there for him to celebrate with him, just like he deserved that moment as well. But, like, if that ball is dropped, Cameron Dicker makes a field goal. And the Chargers still feel like they're, somewhat in the realm of things. And then Cross later, I mean, to have that one-handed play with Quentin Johnson, a lot of the cross plays we've seen so far this year, Eddie, I think have been more around the line of scrimmage.
Mm-hmm.
Even in the backfield. And by no means has he been perfect in coverage. You obviously saw the roller coaster a little bit with him during the game. Rondé Gadsden had a couple big plays, but that is such a huge interception right there. I don't know if they go for the 4th down after that, but again, they could kick it with Dicker and, still, feel like they're within earshot of things. So those 2 interceptions on a day when you allow Justin Herbert to throw for a career high, when the Chargers, they only punted once, right? Pretty sure they only punted once in the game.
I think so.
Like, you have to find stops in other areas, and those were the stops. You weren't really holding them, naturally outside of that first drive, which the Will Dissly drop really helped there, but, naturally holding them to field goals when they have those 3 straight touchdown drives to start the second half. You're able to get stops in other ways, and those individual plays, just huge. And really around the red zone, Eddie, think about some of the turnovers. Geno Smith's pick, and then, after that, you obviously had the Arizona game and how that one ended with a stop on a 4th and goal. Those sorts of stops in the confined, restricted areas of the field, those matter even more to you. So big plays by Grover, big plays by Nick Cross.
Anything else to add to what you like, Kevin, or do you want to transition to what you did not like?
I feel like we covered it all there. Yeah.
Alec Pierce is down there somewhere.
Yeah, he is. And I tweeted out late when he iced the game, he's going to get paid a lot of money. And I don't know who it's going to be by, but he's going to get paid a lot of money.
Colts probably have to find a way.
Colts are going to have to lift up some cushions.
Yeah.
They're going to have to find it's not going to be easy. We saw a team offer a 2nd round pick for Alec Pierce back in the draft, and the Colts said no. And now look what he's done. I would say he's taking his game to another level here in this contract here. So that one is going to be that money will surprise some people, I think. But the NFL world, I believe, views Alec Pierce in that light. But hey, welcome to paying a quarterback big money, right?
That's absolutely right. There was one glaring thing on what you and I probably are in agreement on in terms of what we did not like, considering the fact that LA lost, pretty much every offensive lineman over the course of the last 3 weeks or so, and certainly during the course of the season through 7 weeks. The Colts were only able to get home 3 times on Justin Herbert. So the pass rush, number one of 2 things that you did not like from Sunday's win.
Yeah, I was really, really disappointed in the pass rush and just kind of finishing of those plays. And I get that Herbert, can be pretty elusive back there, but the Chargers came in the league, I think it was bottom quartile in sacks allowed. Herbert been sacked 17 times in 6 games, so by no means is he like untouchable. And it takes your 37th pass attempt of the game before you get him onto the ground. And he's in a lot of obvious passing situations too. And I was adamant that this is a game where your D-line has got to feast, and you just laid out where the Chargers were at from an offensive line standpoint. My acknowledgement of that doesn't even come to how the Colts internally believed. They thought they would absolutely whip the Chargers up front. They thought it would just be an absolute ass kicking. And that was not what it was in terms of finishing plays. I mean, I have no idea how many games Justin Herbert's played in his career. I guess, I don't know, probably over 78, probably nearly 90 games in his career. I think it's just an absolute, just really a poor effort in that you weren't able to create more from that aspect of the game, especially when you have the investments that you do. Right now, it seems like it's a DeForest Buckner splitting, or you get absolutely nothing from that. So that's kind of how I view where things are at right now. It's Buckner or bust, really. And I haven't gone here just yet. I've kind of debated over the last few weeks, Eddie, of, okay, end, linebacker, corner, where are you at right now in terms of trying to upgrade? Do you do a trade, et cetera, et cetera? I would say the edge rush is the one that now I am all in on from a trade standpoint. I think it's needed. And you also had a couple injuries yesterday. Samson Ebicom gets a friendly fire from Buckner in the knee, Tyquan Lewis at the groin. Where are they going to be at here moving forward? At corner, you could talk yourself into, hey, Travaris Ward, is back in a few weeks, you hope. Jalen Jones, at some point, I think there was a thought that in October he could be back. At some point, does he give you something? I don't see where that is at all from a defensive line, defensive end standpoint. And I also think, you can find a situational rusher that, it's not too taxing on him. Hey, third down, welcome to Indy. You don't need to know a lot of verbiage, a lot of language. Just beat the dude in front of you. That's kind of how I view things. I feel like all the pressure you create, or a lot of the pressure that you create, is off of stunts or largely high effort plays. It's not enough of individual guys winning one-on-one. So I think that's where some of the frustration for me lies right now with the pass rush.
Here's my rebuttal to you, KB. Even when you go back and you look at the Lou Anarumo days with Cincinnati, it was just Trey Hendrickson. Outside of that, they didn't get a lot of pass rush from whomever the opposite end was, whether that's Sam Hubbard or somebody else. And I have to wonder, is this more of a scheme thing? Because is it more gap integrity versus the pass with Gus Bradley? I can't remember who it was that said this on. It was Tyquan Lewis. We had him on Querying Company a month ago, and he said that this defense is more gap integrity wise versus just trying to generate pressure at the quarterback. So it makes me wonder if it's more of the scheme than it is the talent. But I also think there could be some lack of talent there as well.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I'm seeing the gap integrity either, because I think when Herbert wanted to run yesterday, he was able to do that as well, getting into some of those A and B gaps and things like that. So I understand the Hendrickson side of it, but to me still, it's just not enough. It's not enough from these individual players, whether it was Gus Bradley or now Lou Anarumo. Gus's scheme was very much of a, get upfield, and I still didn't think you got the defensive playmaking that was necessary there. So I think you got some definite questions with that group in general there, and it goes back to the Cross and Stewart plays, how pivotal those were in getting stops for you. And if you look at some of these quarterbacks, that depending on right now the Colts are the 1 seed, but if you fell into that wild card weekend, you could be facing Herbert again.
Yeah,
you could be facing Patrick Mahomes. You could be facing Josh Allen. I mean, right now the Patriots are winning the AFC East, so those guys in your building,
in a controlled climate, pass rush is going to be vital to trying to get those guys, off their games there. So it kind of gets back to I get these are great players that you're playing, but just because they're great, does that mean that they should have a career high against you?
No.
That to me is where the expectations should be met at a little bit more of a higher standard there. So, yeah, disappointed in the pass rush and maybe just kind of the natural ability to get off the field a little bit more.
And then the second item, kind of nitpicking here, Kevin, when there's a lot of things that go well, the fact that Michael Badgley missed a PAT indoors.
Yeah, and my question becomes this. Does Shane Steichen trust him? Like the 4th and 4, Eddie, in the second quarter, before they overruled the Anthony Gould play, that was a 40-yard field goal attempt, and they were going for it. Is that because of lack of trust in Michael Badgley?
Or is that just the utmost confidence in your offense?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe knowing that, hey, points may be at a premium here considering the nature of our secondary.
Yeah. Probably the easy answer is both. Again, watching Badgley kick at practice, I think there are some questions about his leg strength in general. Obviously, the extra point. I think that was the first miss, I believe, since Matt Gay in Cincinnati, that rainy December game against Jake Browning a few years ago. It's pretty rare to see an indoor missed extra point, especially for the Colts. And my questions now are, what happens at Heinz Field? What happens in Arrowhead? What happens in Seattle? If you don't get the 1 seed and you are in a playoff run, a lot of the other AFC teams are outdoor venues. Do you have a kicker that you can trust? When 4th and 4 is now 4th and 7. Do you have a guy that you trust? Because right now, I get the sense that Shane Steichen trusts Michael Badgley about as much as I trust myself to only have one plate of food on Thanksgiving.
Goes back to the question. I can't remember if I asked you on this pod or if I asked you on the show, and you're on with Jake on Fridays. Whenever Tyler Bass, or if he does at this point for Buffalo, make a return, obviously you're not keeping 2 kickers on the roster. Do you make a move at Matt Prater with, the kicks that he's made in his career and the way he's kicked it for the Buffalo Bills this year?
Yeah, I definitely keep the list handy. They always say you have the list in that top drawer. I might move the list to the desk. And then when Michael Badgley walks in, maybe move the list to the other side of the desk.
That's right.
Underneath the legal pad or two.
Let's get into
I just think, in this league, and right now it's so hard to even comprehend, Eddie, because the Colts are beating the you-know-what out of these teams.
Yeah.
But in this league, so much of it can come down to what happens there. I mean, how many big kicks did Harrison Butker make to win and ice games? How many big kicks did the Colts have to deal with, from a Vanderjagt standpoint back in the day, good and bad? That stuff just matters a ton. So, I don't know. Just something to keep an eye on.
Let's get into Twitter questions. We have a handful of them to get to, starting with Wake Spike to kind of continue the conversation about the Colts pass rush. Kevin, Wake Spike wonders, am I crazy for thinking that the 8th string Chargers lineman should have been far more destroyed by the Colts defensive ends? Chris Ballard can't draft defensive ends. The Colts won, but Justin Herbert should have been smashed way more than he was.
Yeah, this is kind of what I'm getting at. And again, my question now becomes this, Eddie. Trade candidates. Okay? Let's look at teams that have thrown in the towel or are going to throw in the towel. Jets, Dolphins, Titans, Saints, Raiders. The Bradley Chubbs, the Jalen Phillipses, the Kayvon Thibodeaux, Carl Granderson. Those... You don't have your 6th-rounder. Now, theoretically, at some point, you'll probably get a mid-round pick back for Anthony Richardson, I would assume. So, maybe that can kind of offset some things. But a 3rd, a 4th, a 5th. I'm not, I'm not going to talk. I'm going to talk realistically. I don't think Max Crosby or Myles Garrett or any of those are realistic, particularly with your cap situation and what Daniel Jones is going to garner. But those are the spots I would look at. And I think that pass rush and corner, they both matter. I think pass rush matters more. That's how I view it. To me, which one would I rather have be elite? Obviously, I'd take both. But if I'm going to pick one or the other, I would pick
your pass rush. I think it's easier to, if you can disrupt earlier in downs, I think it can lead to more chaos than it is just, hey, if you have blanket coverage, it is so hard to hold up for 5, 6, 7 seconds. Just period. Even if you are some elite corner. Whereas if your pass rush can accomplish it, I think it's going to lead to more disruption.
A follow-up to this. Are you looking for somebody who's under contract for multiple years, or are you looking for like a rental situation here?
Nah, I'm not going to be overly greedy.
The only reason why I ask is we've already kind of talked about the situation the Colts are in with some players that are going to be due for contracts. Daniel Jones, Nick Cross, Alec Pierce. So the question is, like, that's something that you have to consider, I feel like, right? Yeah,
and I guess fitting it into down the road. I mean, right now, Kwity Paye looks like a guy you'd let walk, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, in a perfect world, I think anytime you do a trade, you'd find a young guy that's able to help you for more than that year. But I don't know, maybe financially, maybe they are more in a, 3-month rental sort of situation here. So it's a good question. I'm not overly greedy, though. To me, I just think that DeForest Buckner is commanding so many freaking double teams.
Yeah.
That the others should be feasting in these one-on-one opportunities. Have you ever seen, I don't know if I've ever seen an NFL game where I've seen a team sub in more offensive linemen within a game. Like, it seemed like every time the cameras pan to the Chargers sideline, they're subbing in a new offensive lineman.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is this? Wideout? Corner? It was wild.
Yeah, a name that I thought of immediately, Kevin, with where things are at with their season is Miami. Jalen Phillips would fit the bill.
Right. People said Phillips. People said Chubb.
Just because Phillips is on the last year of his rookie deal.
Right.
And he would be a free agent after this year, so if it doesn't pan out, then, you don't lose anything, really.
Yeah.
Plus, you don't have to worry about the future contract down the road. Brian would like to know, was Zaire Franklin's play against Ladd McConkey the play of the game, or at least the play of the second half? If Zaire doesn't get back in coverage and break that pass up at the touchdown in a one-possession game, for all the flack he's taken so far this season about his coverage issues, he came up huge there.
Brian, I'm glad you mentioned this. Kudos to Brian for mentioning this. Eddie, I was kind of stunned when all of a sudden I was like, wait, that was 44?
Yeah.
That far down the field? That close to Ladd McConkey and then making the play at the moment of truth. That was a big time. Yeah, I where do you rank it on the magnitude of plays in the game? I mean, yeah, play of the second half. I thought the Abdullah kick return was pretty big, but I mean, what would that have been? Chargers score there with what, like probably 3:30 to go? Does that sound right?
I'll go back and look, but
something along those lines. I mean, yeah, that was a big play. So they were down to 2 timeouts at that point. The Colts probably have to get, 2 first downs to win the game? Yeah, huge. It was huge. And just credit Zaire. I don't.
3:43.
Yeah. So, yeah, right around 3:30. I mean, credit to him because I don't think it, I don't view his season so far by any means Pro Bowl-ish. But I thought that was a big-time play in coverage by a guy that's played every single snap defensively for you there. And, yeah, I think that deserves more mention. And, I mean, you'd been on the field for how many plays at that point of the drive? Wasn't that a 21-play drive?
Yes.
That's probably worth pointing out as well.
That was play, let's see here. So that was 21, 20. That was play 20.
Yeah, big time. Big time from him.
Josh is next. Any reason why Rigoberto Sanchez is not doing kickoffs anymore? Was Spencer Schrader doing them before he got injured?
Yeah, I mean, I think there was a little bit of talk if you don't want to put too much on Rigo's leg, but hell, he's barely even punting right now. So yeah, I thought they were a little better yesterday than they have been, but now the kickoff really matters. With all these rules, I mean, the kickoff just really matters. So, yeah, I thought it was I was curious if they would put Sanchez, back there on it.
You know what I'm waiting for to see one of these kickers do? Like Johnny Hecker when he was with the Rams came up with like the watermelon punt. Like he would drop the ball sideways and it would spin over that way. I'm waiting for one of these kickers to put the ball on the tee sideways. And it's like a freaking, slicing line drive in baseball
Right.
Where it's like you kick it on one side and it's like slicing away from the returner.
Yeah, I think the only issue there is like, would it go out of bounds, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I how teams, I think, evolve with the kickoff, I think will be very interesting as well, not only this year, but kind of in future years as well.
2 questions left. Gary's is, with Daniel Jones, are the Colts better off in our quarterback situation, or do the Colts still need to be looking for a quarterback? Also, how does Anthony Richardson fit into the equation? If I could only listen to one Colts podcast, this would be the one. Thanks, Gary.
Oh, Gary, it's very nice of you on that there. I edited that one in there. I just sent it to you and just try to make it look like the rest of Gary's
really?
font there. Yeah.
So anytime there's like, hey, love listening to the pod,
Right.
that's you?
Right. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah. You can find that on me. Gary, thank you. It means a lot. I know there are a lot of great Colts pods out there, frankly, so we appreciate you making
And I'm
time.
not so sure none of these are your burners that you're just making up to ask questions to make it look like we have listeners.
Mm-hmm. Right, exactly. DMs are empty. I'm just simply sending these over to you. Most common American names out there. Here we go. Which we actually have a large international audience, so I should also include that. Well, you know me. I've always been team draft and develop. I think an ideal NFL world, you aren't immediately paying the quarterback $30 to $40 million.
Yep.
Whatever Daniel Jones is going to command next offseason. Like that would be an ideal. Like you can build it a little bit with the 5-year rookie window, and then at some point you have to then pay that quarterback, and now he covers up the holes. You support him in the first 5 years, and then the training wheels come off.
Yeah.
That's kind of my thought in general from a quarterback standpoint. Now, right now, it's incredible what Jones has done. So, there's part of me that kind of thinks back to the Ballard quote of, you need to find the next quarterback when you have the quarterback, kind of doing whatever, more the Green Bay method to things here. And I'm trying to think, Eddie, who are you paying? You're paying Pierce, Braden Smith, Nick Cross, potentially Kwity Paye. I think who else in contract years?
Cross, Pierce, Kwity Paye, Daniel Jones.
Right. Do we get back to the Pierce versus Pittman debate? You and I had this during the offseason.
I think it's different now than it was in the offseason because I thought there was hope for A.D. Mitchell turning into something.
Right. Okay.
And now that doesn't seem like it's going to be the case.
Can you pay both? You're going to give Pittman a third contract.
Braden Smith, free agent as well.
Right. Now, that to me seems pass the torch. I think they're high on Jalen Travis. I know it's not, again, you would love to re-sign all these. So, yeah, and as far as Richardson is concerned, no, I don't. I think there was always a thought here in the season, as long as Richardson was healthy, that, when Jones gets hurt, Richardson would get a chance. But now, when's Richardson back? Is he back this season?
The Colts currently have just north of $69 million in cap space for next season, but that includes the cap holds for Braden Smith, Kwity Paye, and Samson Ebukam.
The more we get into this season, and the more you watch Shane Steichen and Daniel Jones, these just mad Bill Nye the Science Guy scientists go to work.
I like the mic'd up moment. Was that last week against the Arizona game? After the Arizona game, it's like they're looking over the play call sheet, and he goes, hey, what do you like here? You like this one? Or we can go here.
Yeah.
And Daniel's like, I like this one. He goes, all right, me too. Let's go.
Like, these two are, the more I watch it play out, the more I'm honestly confused by the Anthony Richardson draft pick. Just because it seems like Shane is so obsessive and needs his quarterback to meet him at that level that, Richardson, I guess maybe you're backed into a corner as a franchise. And, Shane liked Richardson. It's not like Shane was against the pick, but these two are just, they're two football nerds. There I am. I share this on our morning show today. There I am Friday night. And like Friday night, for those unfamiliar with NFL life, it's the one time you get freedom.
Yeah.
Like basically the NFL day on a Friday for players ends about 2:00.
Yeah.
And for the most part, you're hightailing out of there pretty quickly after that. And even some coaches. and you get that that 3 o'clock to whatever time you go to bed Friday night window, and then you're back in the building Saturday morning. And once you're back in the building, you're probably going straight from the building to the airport. Like Saturday is a walkthrough and then travel day.
Or to the team hotel, yeah.
Or to the team hotel for home games, exactly. Now, maybe a little bit of time in between to go home. But, when you... So, again, Friday is pretty much that. I'm walking to the Butler basketball game Friday night. Butler Notre Dame.
I'm surprised you're calling it the Butler basketball game for that matter.
Shout out to the beautiful Hinkle Fieldhouse. Great new video boards in there. And are you familiar with the Butler Bowl, the football stadium?
Yes.
Okay, so they got this, bronzish bulldog. I think everybody knows the Butler mascot. Yeah. Got this bronze bulldog, great looking statue. And he's got his cage and everything. Well, Max Bone sees that, and he's locked in. I mean, he's climbing on that bulldog. He's petting the bulldog. He's acting like he's getting the bulldog food. And, it's like 6:40. So, it's starting to get a little dark. It's kind of a dreary night. I'm like, come on, Max, come on. I'm trying to get him to, move along. And next thing you know, we got this, nice-looking SUV pulling up. I'm like, Max, speed up a little bit here. And in a very playful manner, the driver of the SUV was like, will you hurry up there? And
was it Shane Steichen or Daniel Jones?
And I'm like, what is going on over here? He's like, blow it. And all of a sudden I walk over there. Shane Steichen driving, Daniel Jones at the front seat.
No way. I knew they were at the game together. I didn't realize they, traveled together.
I mean, look at it. I mean, these dudes can't get enough of each other. And I'm thinking, this is your only off night of the whole week.
Mm-hmm.
And here they are together. Sitting there mid-court. Daniel Jones, shout out to Daniel Jones, bought a 50-50 ticket. Now, if you leave the sporting event early, can you win the 50-50 ticket? Or do you have to be present?
You have to be present. You
got to be present, right?
Yeah.
I want them to do prices right with the 50-50. Lights off, strobe light it, and then whoever wins the 50-50 ticket stands up.
Yeah.
That's what I would like. But nice for Daniel Jones.
That'd be sick.
Donate some money there to the Butler Athletic Department. So it's just these two are, they watch games together Saturday morning. Daniel is a guy that Saturday night at the team hotel, that meeting ends, and he wants the offense to stick together and look at a few more things. I mean, preparation is one of the 4 core beliefs of Steichen. I remember saying this about Gus Bradley. That's why it always confused me defensively that they've decided to play a system that didn't stress enough preparation.
Yeah.
From opposing teams towards your defense. Well, now, again, they're going to the nth degree from a preparation standpoint. Shane shared the story in the postgame press conference after the Arizona game of, remember that tight window ball that Jones threw to Pierce?
Yes.
Late in the fourth quarter there?
Yeah, the crosser.
That was a watch it Saturday night. If we get this look, I'm going to get that tight shot to Pierce. Are we all ready for it? And then boom, 24 hours later, it plays out in that manner. That's the stuff that these two are just.
Flacco said the same thing,
they're
kind of.
So obsessive. Monday through Saturday.
After the Cincinnati game, him and Zach Taylor, obviously they had to spend a lot of time together, short week, 3 days to prepare or whatever, and they had a feeling that Pittsburgh would try to do the double bracket of Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, so they call up a play where they think they're going to get the look, they get the look, and it was just implemented the night before. And they got the look they wanted. He hits Andre Yosivas for a first down, and to continue the Daniel Jones, Shane Steichen thing, I go back to when Shane was first hired, and I don't know who, somebody in the media, one of those first press conferences was asking him about the quarterback position, and the number one thing that he always came back to was just the obsession of the position and the obsession of the sport. And you can clearly see Daniel Jones is obsessed with football, and he's obsessed with the position.
Yeah, and I think this market is obviously serving him well. He's going into your local places here, and is
local high school football games.
Is enjoying that, and just a little bit more of this seems to be his speed. And he's living in a very quiet part of Indianapolis. It's not, he's not downtown in the hustle and bustle. If you even call downtown Indianapolis having hustle and bustle from whatever a Friday night standpoint is. Clearly his Friday nights are pretty subdued, just hanging at the Butler game. So, it just seems like a perfect marriage. And again, I guess there's no way to say it without it coming as a shot at Anthony Richardson, but it's then why draft Richardson?
Right.
Because quarterbacks come in all shapes and sizes. Rivers, Herbert, Hurts. They're all different.
Yeah.
Very different stylistically, but they had the obsessive gene.
playing that position. And yet, that was the one question. And again, maybe you're backed in as a franchise. If we don't need to rehash the 2023 draft. That's why I've always been a believer of, if you're in that position as a franchise, you have to do everything you can to trade as high up as possible. I want to choose. I want the candy. I want to choose the candy bar from the gas station. I don't want you to go in and choose for me.
Yeah. Final Twitter question comes from Jake. If you're a betting man, which you are, right?
I dabble occasionally.
Okay.
Not a lot, but I do dabble occasionally.
Do you think the Colts taking a swing at trading for a cornerback before the deadline? This feels like a Peyton Manning era team where it's just a race to who gets the ball last when the Colts play legit teams and hope the defense doesn't break. If Chris Ballard and Shane Steichen are in make or break years, you got to think they do whatever possible to make a serious run. This isn't a development year anymore.
Boy, it does have a little bit of that feel of like who gets the ball last, something along those lines. What do you think, Eddie? Where would you go? Corner?
I still find the whole Jalen Jones and Jalen Carlisle situation is very fascinating. You would think they would both be back by now from their injuries. I would probably just go, well, you're going to get Ward back, right?
I assume. Yeah. I mean, he's, out through the bye week.
Outside of that, are they getting any other reinforcements in the secondary?
Well, I mean, Jalen Jones would probably be the other one.
But is he going to play?
Right. Again, I had thought maybe October for
Mike Hilton will come back at some point, but do you need Mike Hilton with Kenny Moore back?
Yeah. So that's,
we're probably splitting hairs here, but if you literally said to me, which one matters more, would you rather have an elite pass rush or elite cornerback?
Oh, elite pass rush.
I would say
sure.
the elite pass rush.
Malcolm Kuhn's another name, by the way.
I also feel like, Eddie, it's just I could somehow listen to talking yourself into corner. Like if I told you right now you had a cornerback group at the start of December, your cornerback group was Javarius Ward, Mekhi Blackman, and Kenny Moore II. And Jalen Jones and Jonathan Edwards are cornerbacks 4 and 5. I think you could get by with that. Right? I like that. Whereas at pass rush, I don't feel as good about it.
Yeah.
I mean, the Chargers, that was just embarrassing to watch them even try to double team DeForest Buckner.
Yeah.
I mean, what happens if Buckner gets nicked up? We've had some games where Buckner's been on a pitch count. Those moments, it's just like, oh boy. So we'll see. Maybe JT Tuimoloau has some second half, rookie impact. He obviously made some plays in the playoffs last year, college football wise, of course. So all things to get to. I know we got a good amount of Twitter questions we couldn't get to today. We'll get to on Wednesday's pod. I believe the second biggest spread in the NFL this season. Colts, Titans, and I want to say the biggest spread for the franchise in about 4 years.
Ooh, what is it? What's the opening line?
I thought it was 14.5. I think Jacksonville maybe to end one of those seasons. Colts won one and lost one. I think it was 2020, 2021.
We've had a couple of those games this year that have been 14.5.
Yeah, I want to say Bills Saints.
That was one, and then I believe
15.5. There was another one, maybe Green Bay Cincy.
That was, I think, 11. I thought Baltimore Cleveland was 14.5 too.
Yeah, I think that opened up big. But, usually these lines tend to open up big, and then they get bet down a little bit here. So, again, just some things to keep an eye on here as we get closer to Sunday with Colts and Titans. That is Mike McCoy, the interim coach down there. And I believe Jeffrey Simmons got hurt on Sunday, and L'Jarius Sneed. So a couple of notable Titans got hurt in that game. Eddie Garrison, thank you.
Glad to be back.
Colts Corner with myself, Kevin Bowen, and Eddie Garrison. We are wrapping up, and we'll talk to you on Wednesday previewing Week 8 of the NFL.